seriously, like the pictures you're about to see, like we went and shot the week prior to this with some ballerinas.
Oh yeah.
Like we were giddy. Like we were just like, this is amazing. And then you said, I think I know. I think we can get Jessica to come up next week. And guess what we did? We came back up because this location was so amazing.
I gave her a call. She said,
heck yeah. So we're back at Bald Rock in Northern California. This is like a mini Yosemite almost, you know. I mean, it's not the epic, you know, dome that Yosemite has, but the granite rock. We're at this granite top.
Some people take it for granted.
Yes. But we brought one of our favorite models of all times. Yep. And she just did a fabulous. I figured, let's jump into really quickly. You know, a lot of times we're talking about setting our day up, but I just want to get right into like, do you have a favorite picture of the day?
I do.
You do?
Do you want me to show it?
Yeah.
Okay. So here it is.
And it came at the, you know what I was going to say? I was going to say, I don't have a favorite picture. Every one of them this day was a favorite picture.
That's true. But I have one that I don't know, just kind of stood out.
You're just like, speaks to me. Yes. Speaks. Okay, so let's see your photo.
But yes, you know, you're 100% right. Because looking through, like when we were kind of picking out, you know what?
Wait till you see the photos at the end. You're not going to be able to go, how was that your favorite? Why was it not this one? So
this one I think is my favorite. And it does, we're not going to get super technical on this talk, but it is kind of how I got this shot. This is something that we all love to try to do, is shoot against that sun.
Yes.
What's the biggest problem when you shoot against the sun?
It's a blowout. Yeah. But it's also, you know, I know you're going to say, you know, getting her to block that sun, but people move. And you're having to do this with your camera to like
swaying back.
Put the sun behind them.
So check this out. So Jessica looks amazing, right? But I wanted to get color in the background. I wanted to make sure that I hid that sun with her head, right? So I had to get my positioning dead on perfect, right? And had to wallop her with full power, 400 watt, FJ 400.
Really close. Yep.
The 9, full close. Used the medium octa, was able to fill her in. And I shot this at f16.
Yeah.
Right? And that was to get that color coming out of the sky. And man, the thing I love about this, that she's got these beautiful blue eyes, right? You can actually, if you look closely at the picture, move your face closer to the screen there. Like I can see great catch lights, all with that extremely bright sun coming from behind her. Yep. And it did not blow out the hair. So that's why I just love the picture, because technically, maybe it's not like,
I don't know. I think technically it's a phenomenal photo. So yeah, thank you.
I won't even say anymore.
Okay, there you go.
I love it.
So let me show you a picture that is completely different, right? Okay. Yours is that dramatic, which, you know, you would say, yeah, this is your kind of shot, which is that kind of shot, my kind of shot, that darker background.
I think you copied that shot as soon as I took it.
I did. Oh, I definitely have copied that shot. And that location was amazing. But there was a spot up there where there's this giant overhang rock.
Oh, a huge rock.
And they stacked rocks around. Somebody did. Yep. They made like a little campsite underneath there so that you want to get out of the wind and things. And to me, it's just this really cool little structure. So as soon as I saw it, I'm like, I want to shoot Jessica over there. I didn't really quite know where I was going to do it. But once I got there, I set her down and I'm like, here, can you lean against this rock right here? And I had to keep moving myself until I at least got her to where her head wasn't going to intersect with the rock, because, you know, then I'm competing with dark and dark. I wanted to kind of frame her in that spot. But I don't know, this gives me reminiscent of like Tibet or something, you know, way up on a mountaintop. It feels like you're way up high.
Because you're way up on a mountaintop, way up high.
That's probably why. So this one as well, this was the FJ 400 Westcott.
Yep.
Shot through the medium.
I was going to ask, do you remember what softbox?
That was, that day I carried up my medium octabox, and pretty much all day that's what I used. I would have preferred the large, but when you're getting up on a mountaintop climbing with it, and also the wind, a little breeze, it's going to fly. But so the medium is controllable for me. The light, this particular picture, I actually had to take the light stand out of the image, because the important thing if you want soft light is to get as close as possible. But so I had to do a little Photoshopping getting that out of there. But I love the fact that this just has a natural light feel. Mm-hmm. It's just beautiful and soft, but it's the composition, right? I love the composition of this image. I feel like it's very balanced. You've got bright spots on the right, but it's balanced out by those heavier dark rocks. And so it just comes together nicely. It's one of my favorites.
No, I think it's a great shot. That's the importance, is just to remember, like, how do you balance it out?
Correct. And placement.
Because, which brings me to the next shot.
Yeah.
Here's something that I noticed. So you shoot someone like Jessica, and I'll pull this shot up right now, right? What do you see first? The model. Right?
You do.
It's so hard to look at everything else in the picture.
But my eye goes directly, because of your contrast, right to her.
Which is a good thing, because it was all about her. But here's why this shot, maybe it's not my favorite shot, but it's an important shot. And I just want to kind of explain it. Okay, that's okay. Just do like what my thinking was, because people might go, yeah, she looks beautiful, but maybe there's not enough drawing your attention in the picture. So the whole thing was about balance in this picture, right? So the first image that I had taken, it was basically her. Yep. Then once I shot it, and that was a portrait orientation, so a vertical picture, right? Mm-hmm. What's the best time to take a horizontal?
That's
picture?
Right. Right after the vertical.
Right. So I just spun my camera back to the horizontal position, grabbed some of that tree. Now I'm starting to create balance in the image, right? So I've got the tree, I've got the mountain behind her that's sloping down. It's creating triangles too. Triangles are what?
They're dramatic.
They're power shape.
Yeah, exactly.
So the more triangles you can have in your picture, the more powerful a picture is. You can look at her arm placement. Everything builds triangles as you work through that. So I don't like that there's nothing going on in the sky, but there was nothing.
There was nothing going on. That was the sky we were doing.
And I'm not a big sky replacement guy. I just don't like doing it. Just because
not opposed to it. Just, it's just not a thing you like.
In the picture I showed before, you can see by the time the sun lowered, we actually got a little bit.
Yeah, we had a little bit of haze from some fires going on in California.
But I won't hang out too long in this picture. But just the thing is, think about creating balance. Mm-hmm. And like you said on that previous picture, pull that light in close. The light was like 3 feet less.
Right out of the frame.
Right out of frame. So making sure that you can get it. Shooting with a hat, difficult.
Yeah.
You got to think about where's the shadow from the brim. So we played around with the lighting a little bit to make sure that we could get that where it's lighting the underside of the hat. I got a little bit of rim light coming from the sun, from the back. So I think the picture played out really well. So
yeah. And you got rim light in the front too, right up under the rim of the hat. How about that? There's a bad dad joke.
It's dad joke day. You think it's almost Father's Day or something, but so what else you got?
Yeah. And so, we're talking about some of the technique type stuff, as far as balance and things. So this image I'm going to show, it's not like this is some phenomenal image or anything like that. Beautiful model. But the idea is I just want to show here is thinking about light placement, right? So a couple of things that happen when you shoot outdoors is a lot of people don't think about is they try to set their exposure before their light goes off. And they're like, yeah, that's how I want it to look. But when they're interacting with the background like she is with the rock here, that doesn't work, because I actually want this to go completely dark. And then the direction of light coming out of my flash is going to match her and the rocks. And so I'm relighting everything. But it's really about the angles. I pulled up this picture because I went, this is one where we lit her really far from the right side. And what happens when we're doing workshops is a lot of people come out because I read it in a book. It sits right off axis of their camera lens. And so it's very flat lighting. So if this would have been lit very flat right next to my lens, which is what I see lots of people shooting, all you're going to do is you're going to flatten all of the light on her face. So there's really no modeling. And then all of your shadows inside the texture of this rock are going to flatten out. You're going to lose a lot of the emphasis of the texture.
If I remember right, you feathered that light too. So it was from the side, feathered kind of up.
And it was probably like 3 feet in front of her, not even pointed in her direction. So
that's the other thing I think I see a lot, especially at our workshops, is people
treating it like a flashlight. I need to point the center of my softbox at their face. And you don't have to. There are times to do that. We do that in our headshots a lot of times, but when we're out doing a location shoot, even your previous image, it's that feathering of the light that just makes things so amazing. So what else you got?
That's what I have. I have those two. I show a bunch of pictures.
I'm going to show I'm going to just show one more. And again, this goes back to, this is probably one of my favorite shots of the day. And the only reason I wanted to show this is you get so enamored by location. Not you, but people do. I do, right? You get there, you're like, wow, I got to just, stand there. It's beautiful. Yep. Well, this is one where we worked so hard trying to incorporate features of the background. And sometimes we tried so hard that like after like 15 minutes, we're like, this isn't working. We got to move. And we should have 2 minutes into it, took the first shot and went, this isn't going to work, and be able to say no. Well, we were kind of in this little lull spot where we were kind of making some changes. She had just changed outfits, so everybody's drinking water. We're up on the top of the hill, and we're hydrating. And I'm like, I really like this rock over here. And I'm like, Jessica, why don't you come sit over here before we move to the big fancy rock? And everybody was kind of like, yeah, but let's just right there. And I'm going, no, I just want to shoot her here. And it was a simple backdrop. And my eye immediately said, I kind of have this frame going on. There's all this dark framing, and there's this bright center in the middle. Boy, if I could put her in that frame, she's going to be separated. I just felt like this is going to work out really well. And it was funny. Nobody wanted to take the shot. I think you stood up and you're like, yeah, I'll take that. And I'm like, click, click. And then you're like, what'd you get? And next thing you know, your camera's up, boom, boom, boom. And like,
don't you find that
we turned around going, guys, you need to put the water bottles down. And they're like, what? And everybody started walking over going, oh my goodness. And we couldn't leave this.
We do that to each other all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I'll set up something, you're like, whatever.
Yeah.
You said,
and then I'll look at it, glance over. So immediately, and you know, lots of lessons to be learned. That's why we love doing these workshops. And it's for ourselves too, to remind us so much of like, I love shooting with other people, right? Because you're seeing something I'm not seeing. And again, I'm going, I don't really care about that backdrop. The picture before that you just showed, that was an image that was a location that I was like, Steve, look at this location. There's this looks like a rock fence going up to her. And you're like, click, click, click. And you show me your image. It's like, forget the rock wall. Yeah. I'm shooting this. Yeah. So great.
That's what's fun about shooting with other people. And why I like, you know, when we lead our workshops too, I love it because you've got all these different views.
Different takes on every,
you know, like when we bring somebody out to shoot with us or do a workshop, I love looking at the back of their camera and say, I didn't even see that. Or we get back home and we look at everybody's pictures and like, when did they do that? You know?
Yep. So I'm going to put a plug in for a company we have nothing to do with, right?
Do it.
But, and I've talked about this before, and this is a product that it's like you should be talking about because you're the one that turned me on to this. And that is 511 paints.
Yes.
Like, right, when you start thinking about clothing for photography, immediately we think like, oh, photography.
Photo vest,
right? Because it has all the pockets. Well, 511, if you don't know what they are, they make clothing for like law enforcement and for first responders. Military. So they're military. They're meant to bend. So they've got areas in the knees that bend. And they're usually reinforced knees, but they have all these like what they call ammunition pockets, right? But here's what happens. Where do I put my cell phone? Where do I put an extra battery? That's a lens cap, all those things. The 511 pants, not only are they tough, most of them are ripstop, like some of them you can pour like liquid on them and run striker pants. Like these things are just bulletproof clothing for when we go out into areas like this. And it's not just, you know, the protection of the pants, but it's the pockets, right? So look up 511, 5.11, and I think you're going to love.
I'll put a link to.
Correct. And take a look at it. But if you've been looking for photography clothes, look no further, right? So
511. Look to
you should be looking to photography.
But anyways, no, it's I wear them all the time. All right, love them. Let's show a bunch of pictures.
Let's show a bunch of pictures of that day, and come and join us sometime at one of our live workshops. We do these things, you know, a lot of it on the West Coast, but you know, we're in different areas of the country.
So to do a workshop out where you are,
man,
give us a call.
Sweeten the deal, and we'll be there. Right.
That's right. All right, take a look at these pictures.
All right.